Today on Locked On Rockies, the Pittsburgh Pirates certainly got revenge after that last series, dominating the Rockies on defense and offense. It was forgettable series for the Colorado Rockies, to say the least.
You are Locked On Rockies, your daily Colorado Rockies podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Rock On Rockies fans, welcome into the Locked On Rockies podcast for today, the 25th day of August in the year 2025. I'm your host of the Locked On Rockies podcast, Paul Holden, bringing you your daily Colorado Rockies talk right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where you can find your team every day. And if your team is the Colorado Rockies, guess what? You're in the right spot, because that's what we do around here each and every day, free and streaming on your favorite streaming services and on the Locked On Rockies YouTube channel. Be part of the show. Fire off your Rockies hot takes. Let me know what's on your mind about the Colorado Rockies when you head over to the Locked On Rockies YouTube comment section and fire off those Rockies hot takes there. Bit of a tough weekend for the Colorado Rockies. Just couldn't really do anything. It was absolutely brutal across the board for them. And you know, at the same time, you have to tip the cap a little bit as well, because the Pirates, they have good pitching. But the biggest disappointment yet again was, and the Pirates have been swinging it lately, but there is no team that they have been more successful against than the Colorado Rockies. We're going to go through some of the numbers and more, all coming up on today's episode of Locked On Rockies. Before we continue to go any further here, we got to let you know that today's episode is brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. Enter for a chance to win a dream golf trip for two to any golf tournament in the U.S. Visit 5hewin.com for full rules and entry. No purchase necessary. Excludes the Masters tournament. Ends October 31st, 2025. Okay, so the Rockies score one run across 3 games. One run. And again, you know, there is the context here that matters. Of the Pirates are a good pitching staff. That especially when you're looking at the finale there, Paul Skeens there goes in, striking out 7 batters, allowing no walks, and just dominating, getting his bounce back. It was just a straight up revenge series for the Pittsburgh Pirates in this one. They probably were very frustrated, very, very upset with the way the series in Coors Field went, especially blowing a 9-0 lead there, and that crazy one with the Rockies, and they responded by dominating the Rockies. And this was the reminder. As much as we've been talking about things moving in the right direction, we've been talking about the Rockies playing better ball in the second half. This is still a moment where it's like, this is a team that should be within your in your wheelhouse, basically. But when you continue to get disappointing starts from your starters, and I'm not talking about the debut on Sunday for the Rockies there, going up there and getting there the debut for the young guy there. Sorry, I'm going to get everything up here. I'm just getting all my names there, but I'm not talking about about McCade Brown, especially when you're looking at it overall for Brown in his major league debut. You know, of course, 4 earned runs is a bit tough, but throws 41 strikes there, did have the walks, so not the perfect thing, but 4 runs isn't necessarily, the most insurmountable number. It is when you're playing Paul Skeens. That's definitely a part of it. But when you're kind of comparing his debut to the rest, how the other Rockies starters fared in this one, 2 guys that the Rockies are supposed to be able to count on, and again, have not really been able to count on them this year, and Antonio Senzatella and Kyle Freeland, it's tough. I mean, Kyle Freeland, again, wasn't necessarily in the same kind of vein of, it wasn't too bad, but it's 5 earned runs over 5 innings worth of work. It's the fact that it's getting down and being down and constantly falling behind early. And oh my goodness, microphone, come on, work with me here today. No idea what's going on with it. If you're watching on YouTube, you're watching me fight and fidget with my failing equipment on me. But anyway, but however, I'm tired of kind of making excuses for a Kyle Freeland start here. I'm tired of, yes, the six strikeouts are good, but Freeland still walked 3 guys, still allowed 2 home runs. And then, and this is the biggest issue and problem that the Rockies have now in their starting rotation. Antonio Senzatella is not good. He is not performing. You need to make the decision. You need to figure it out. You need actually you're probably just going to have to go through the lumps. The Rockies owe him too much money and will I would imagine decline the club option after next season. But this is unacceptable. It flat out is unacceptable to continue to allow a guy that just gets it's 5 earned runs to start. No home runs this time, but another 3 walks. The Rockies couldn't stop walking, guys. At least 3 walks from every single one of the Rockies starters. Another 5 earned runs allowed from a Rockies starter. It's unacceptable. The starting pitching has been abysmal. And again, I am calling for accountability. There needs to be accountability in the front office and the people behind the scenes here. It just continues to there's been no improvement. Antonio Senzatella's phantom IL stint did not fix him. You have not been able to help. Kyle Freeland still faces the inconsistency issues here. And McCade Brown just started his career, so we're not going to get, we're not, again, that's different. But these two guys, these were 2 guys that you committed to. These were 2 guys that you saw stuff in, and your coaching staff, your resources, your team has not been able to get these guys to the next level and get them to live up to things. Again, I still think Kyle Freeland's had a very solid career and has been a good pitcher for the Rockies, but you committed to the Antonio Senzatella project. And your pitching staff, your pitching philosophy has not helped him. It has not made him better. He has trended downwards since his return from the IL, and he was trending downwards before he had the bad injuries. But to continue to just sit there and keep giving chances and opportunities to people running this pitching staff, it's not that needs to be the last domino to fall. I'm sorry, the starting pitchers this year were not ready to compete. They were not they were not ready to make impacts for the Rockies. They have not done that this year. It has been easily the most frustrating part of the season. Mixed with the defense, mixed with the slow start on offense, but there is nothing more disappointing than the Rockies starters that we have seen be successful in the past, seen carry the Rockies, help lead the Rockies to the postseason. And they have not performed. And I know I'm starting on the pitching here, sitting here after a weekend series where the Rockies only scored 1 run. Trust me, that's a problem for the Rockies here. But we're talking about the fact that the Rockies, against just the Pirates alone, Rockies pitching, let's see, we got to do some the quick math here. So 16, so that's 21. And then, so they gave up 30 runs in the first game against the Pirates. And then in the second 3 games, the second series against the Pirates, where they only scored 1 run in return, they gave up another, 18 runs? Yeah, 18 runs. The Rockies allowed 48 runs in this series, or in these 2 series against the Pirates. And I know half of it's at Coors, but the other ones were in Pittsburgh. 48 runs allowed. As the Rockies' run differential continues to crater, and again, I understand the offense plays a role in that too. They are not forgiven here. You're talking about the all-star Hunter Goodman looking completely outmatched, getting blown away, looking completely uncomfortable at the dish all weekend long. But when the Rockies keep finding themselves down 2, down 3, down 4, down 5, down 6, down 7, and it's not even the 5th inning of ball games, that's maddening, especially when it comes to these are supposed to be the leaders. These are supposed to be the guys where the expectations should be higher for these guys. And now you're looking at a real albatross of a couple of contracts. You're paying a lot of money to Kyle Freeland and Antonio Senzatella, and these are the results you're getting. That is a massive, massive, massive problem for the Colorado Rockies. It's not at the same amount when with releasing Austin Gomber officially. That was about $6-ish million. Both of these guys are making $20 million. It's not so simple to just be doing to be doing these things. But just as much as these guys need to be performing more, it needs to go back to the guys getting these guys ready. Daryl Scott's been working with these guys for a long time. and he's not getting a breakthrough. It's not changing anything. This series should be another. I mean, as it continues to be. I mean, the red flags about the Rockies pitching staff that have already existed. I mean, they're growing in exponential size. As much as I have to again kind of maybe I don't know if I'm retracting necessarily what some of my stuff, but I've been saying, hey, we're not going to worry too much about the pitching. They need to get the offense going. It needs to get going. You can't ignore where the Rockies are at when it comes to pitching, especially starting pitching, because the bullpen again has had the solid moments, and even in the moments where they've fallen flat or fallen behind, you kind of sit there and say, well, look at how many innings pitched they've had. Look how many times they've had to be turned to. How often do they have to come into a game in the fourth, in the fifth, and pitch half the game? The Rockies need their starters to start hitting the sixth inning consistently. The Rockies need to start getting length in their starts, even if it is going to be those four, even if you allow the 4 earned runs, you got to have enough command and control and confidence to be able to get deeper into the ball game. And you just can't be getting Senzatella and Freeland tapping out by the fifth and not able to get, to get to that next level, get to that next step. But as much as we've ranted and raved about the pitching staff here, we cannot allow the offense off the hook for this as well, because this was a team that this was a team that got dominated across the board, dominated across 3 games here across the weekend, with the Pittsburgh Pirates just sitting in an absolutely money position, handling business there. Let's talk about it all coming up next on today's episode of Locked On Rockies. Before we do that, though, got to tell you about the folks that help make this show possible, and that includes 5 Hour Energy. Time to fuel up and turn it up with 5 Hour Energy Transfusion. This grape, ginger, and lime flavored shot brings the iconic taste of a golf course favorite to a non-alcoholic boost. Perfect for sinking birdies or making memories with friends. It's a hole-in-one for your energy game. Whether you're out on the course or just need a little extra push to power through your day, 5 Hour Energy Transfusion delivers the clubhouse flavor you love without ever leaving the green. You can fuel up to make that crazy shot that all your friends are going to be talking about the rest of your golfing trip. Or maybe you just need that extra boost to get through the afternoon as the heat beats down and it's still hot out there, especially on the golf course, as we are still in prime heat time here. Golf is all about the good times with good people and good flavors. The grape, ginger, lime flavor of 5 Hour Energy Transfusion gives you the best part of your clubhouse go-to without leaving the course or chasing down the bev cart. Now you can amp up the fun even more. Just buy, snap, and enter for a chance to win a dream golf trip for 2 to any golf tournament in the U.S. Tee up that trip. Visit 5hewin.com for full rules and entry. No purchase necessary. Excludes the Masters tournament. Ends October 31st, 2025. Locked On Rockies here, back with you for segment number 2 of today's episode of Locked On Rockies. And hey, by the way, we have an important request. Locked On wants to hear from you. We've put together a survey to learn more about our listeners and make your favorite podcasts even better. This is your chance to tell us what you like, what you don't, and answer questions about our advertising. Go to lockedonpodcasts.com/survey to get started. Everyone who completes the survey will be entered for a chance to win one of 10 $100 Amazon gift cards. Again, that's lockedonpodcasts.com/survey. You can also find the link in the show notes. Thanks for helping us out. And thanks, of course, for making us your first listen of the day. Fired up after the weekend there. Was not fun. One of the things that has been more enjoyable of the Rockies of late is they've been a bit more of a fun team to watch. And that wasn't the case this weekend. It was not really a very enjoyable time to watch the Rockies fall behind early and be absolutely baffled when it comes to offense here. And again, we're talking about a solid group of pitchers here. Braxton Ashcraft, who got the start in game 1 there. His ERA is about 2.70, whip of 1.18 here so far this season. He had back-to-back good starts there after going with the Rockies. not the had a little bit of some issues there, and the Rockies were able to get after him in that first appearance that they saw him with, but he gets revenge, bounces back, shuts down the Rockies offense. A little bit frustrating to see that, when you're a little familiar with a guy and you still end up striking out 6 times, and only getting 1 hit on him. I don't know what the adjustments there, or that kind of shows you how each game is very different for the Rockies. And Andrew McCutchen, man, that dude still just swings it, man. It's just crazy to watch him just continuing to drive in runs. He's I love watching Kutch. I'm a Kutch fan. I think he's always been a very fun player to watch. But the Rockies in that first game on offense, they only scraped together 3 hits. In the second game they do put together the 6 hits with the 1 home run there. But then in the finale as well, we're only talking now the Rockies having 9 hits in 2 games there. And then going up against Paul Skeens, you only get another 4 hits there. So you're talking about over a course of 3 games for the Rockies, only picking up 13 hits. Not necessarily going to be putting yourself in a position to be very successful there, especially with the fact that the Rockies were able to get after and do damage against this Pittsburgh team back at Coors Field. Again, you can kind of maybe it's just leaning into the Coors versus not, home versus road thing, classic situation for the Rockies. But part of it is, again, I think just the reminder here of the solid pitching staff for the Pirates. Burrow's not as, kind of Mike Burrows, who got the start in game 3. When you look at his numbers, he certainly hasn't dominated, so to speak there. So, maybe there is a little bit of wiggle room with saying with that, but Rockies just couldn't handle anything. I mean, we're talking about here in this one, Burrows only goes the 4 innings, but gets 5 strikeouts. The Rockies strike out 13 times in that second game. Let's see how many strike times they struck out in that first game there, because what was so successful against the Dodgers, what the Rockies were being so successful with against them, why they split that series and looked good and competitive in those games, was limiting the strikeouts, limiting those unproductive outs and getting blown away there. 9 strikeouts for the Rockies there in the first game. And then in the finale against Skeens and company, I believe it was at least 7 strikeouts there. It was another 9 strikeout day. So the Rockies there striking out over 30 times on the weekend there. Where, what is that? I mean, that's probably been close to 40 at that point. The strikeouts there over the weekend there. It's not going to get the job done. And it's still the lineups with young guys in it when you're looking at, the fact that Caro's, Fulford, Fernandez, Ritter, all getting, the Rockies roster is going to be those young guys from time to time, but still doesn't make you feel, it still doesn't bring a lot of confidence, still doesn't make you feel very good when the Rockies just get flat out blown away throughout the rest of that weekend. The Rockies also not able to draw a lot of walks, be able to find those free passes, have those competitive at-bats to get those free opportunities like we saw in the Dodgers series as well. All in all, the Rockies just came out and played flat, I think, throughout the weekend. They just did not, nothing really out there that was looking like they were locked in, nothing really sticking out to saying they were, oh, maybe they got unlucky, maybe things didn't break their way. No, they just got beat. Their approach on offense was not good enough. But the Rockies continued to, struggle on the road. Nothing too surprising there, as the Rockies are now 16-49 on the road here. 16-49, 37-94. So just as I was saying, as the Rockies had a chance to avoid hitting 100 losses before avoiding being that worst team ever, they go out and they get swept by Pittsburgh. And now they're heading in and going to play a Houston team, which has a lot of very strong pitching on the road, and have played very well, not only against the Rockies, but have started playing a much better ball of late there, taking 3 of 4 from the Orioles this weekend after a bit of a lull. So they're looking to stay hot and impress in front of the home crowd. But I don't think we're going to be seeing friend Brendan Rodgers in this one. Is he kind of at another kind of just classic Brendan Rodgers stuff? It sounded like where he was rehabbing and then collided with a teammate during the rehab assignment and then got a nasty concussion, it sounded like. So they let's see here. I believe he just started on August 24th. So just today, he started just this weekend, I should say, Rogers began another rehab stint after just dealing with that unfortunate injury luck yet again for him. So Rockies got to get the offense going. The Rockies are going to be up against another really a good Houston team here. When we're talking about them having let's see here. Let's see if they can just give me the team ERA here. Let's see. They got a team whip of 1.23 and a team whip of 3.91. So we got plenty of very good pitching here, and they've racked up over 1,200 strikeouts on the season so far. So it is going to be a challenge. It is going to be an uphill battle for the Rockies here in game number in this next series here. But we'd love to see the Rockies bounce back themselves here and shake up the American League pennant race a little bit more, the American League West pennant race here. Let's talk about one good thing that's been happening of late, and let's talk about the fact that Brenton Doyle, as he continues to just climb the ranks and continue to find himself in a very, very good spot on offense and in a very, very productive long stretch for Brenton Doyle, which is a really, really good sign and a really, really good thing for the Rockies as you're looking for good news to finish out the season. Let's do that coming up next on today's episode of Locked On Rockies. Before we do that, though, got to tell you about the folks that help make this show possible, and that includes FanDuel, August 26th. That means tomorrow is officially FanDuel Futures Day. It's a brand new holiday for football fans who live for bold predictions and preseason hunches. For just 24 hours, FanDuel is giving you deals on NFL season predictions. So whether you're calling your MVP, eyeing a long shot division winner, or ready to crown your Super Bowl champion before week one even kicks off, this is your moment. Maybe you're high on the Broncos. Like we said, you want to go and check out what the future props are looking like for Cortland Sutton, Bo Nix. Maybe try to just go in on the defense, Pat Surtain and them boys. Maybe you're looking at turnovers and stuff like that. You can see all for yourself, or take the flyer on the MVP race. Do you think it's going to be Josh Allen? Do you think it's going to be Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, some of the big names in the NFL? Or are you going to crown your champion in August? Do you think the Broncos can dethrone the Chiefs? Will the Eagles repeat? I don't know. Who do you have your thoughts on? You can take advantage of it all at FanDuel Futures Day, where you can parlay your division winner dark horses as well. Visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your future bets now, because Futures Day is one day and one day only at FanDuel.com. That's FanDuel. Play your game. Locked On Rockies here, putting a bow on things for this Monday edition of Locked On Rockies. Not necessarily the most fun weekend of baseball for the Roccos, as it stinks when you get beat by teams like that. When Pittsburgh, again, a team that has some strengths, but the Rockies getting hit around and crushed by a Pittsburgh team. When you compare the teams to the two offenses, the Rockies should be the ones doing the damage. The Rockies should have been the offense favorite in this series, but the strength of the Pirates being their pitching, they were able to come in there and get the job done. It's pretty crazy when you think about this. The leading and when pitcher wins, whatever of a stat, right? But the Rockies' leader is Antonio Senzatella with 4. That's tough, man. That is brutal. That is really, really difficult and a tough pill to swallow. Rockies don't have anybody with 100 strikeouts yet this season. Kyle Freeland at 91. So a good chance for Freeland to get those 100 strikeouts before the end of the year. But just kind of some other kind of surface level big name stat lines that the Rockies are still falling short on, kind of to remind you there. But the Rockies now currently ranking 30th in all major pitching categories. Not too surprising there. Here's where the Pirates actually are in those categories, just as we just put a bow on this before. We do highlight one of the good things there for the Rockies. The Pirates are 15th in earned run average, 14th in quality starts, 6th in whip, and 8th in opponent batting average allowed. So it's good. It's good staff over there in Pittsburgh, and a team that has, like the Rockies, struggled to be able to figure it out and put it all together. there. But good news, or at least the good sign for the Rockies here, as we do try to bring up at least some of the good stuff that's happened here. Brenton Doyle, man. Brenton Doyle continues to really, really impress. Brenton Doyle, the strikeouts are still something you might be looking at, but for Doyle now, he's had 1 strikeout in his last 3 games. He's had 23 strikeouts over his last 30 games. In that time, that's 101 at bats. So near 25% strikeout rate ish, which is a little higher than you want, but kind of a more in line with the average, or with how things look like in Major League Baseball. But let's just zoom in here. Let's start from the last 30 games, and we'll just zoom in a little bit closer here to the last 7 as we're looking at the MLB.com player profile here for him over his last 30 games. And so remember, that's about 100. That's 101 at bats according to MLB.com here. 376 average, 402 OBP, and slugging is 634. Stolen 4 bases in this time. He's walked 5 times. He's driven in 20 runs, including 7 homers in this time. And now he's got 38 hits as well. So if you go closer to just kind of the smaller sample size here for the last 7 games, in his last 25 at bats, he's got 10 hits. He's 10 for 25. He's 10 hits in his last 25 at bats. 3 of them are homers, only 3 strikeouts in that time with a walk, 8 RBI, and a couple of stolen bases. This highlights just how impactful Brenton Doyle can be for the Rockies. Again, the offense wasn't doing anything, and he wasn't necessarily lighting it up, but Brenton, he had a 2-hit game against the Dodgers in the finale, and then he did not play the opener against Pittsburgh, had a multi-hit game in the second game, including the home run there, and then had a hit in the finale, one of the few Rockies hits that they did get, and I believe it was a ground rule double. It was another one hit very, very well. Brenton Doyle is showing us how important, how important this comeback is, and how big of an impact he can have. At one point, you remember, we're talking about him batting 194 in the month of May, 227 in the month of April here. And we're looking at a batting average that did dip down to 196, getting as low at 191. And in June, a 151 average. So 3 months here were the highest batting average for Brenton Doyle. Monthly total batting average for Brenton Doyle was 227. And the rest of the stat lines, the slugging and the OBP, certainly not looking good either. But in July, a 327 batting average with a 351 OBP and a 400 slugging in that time, including bringing in 4 runs. Got a homer in that time. And now in August, he has really turned it on. 7 home runs this month, the most home runs he's hit this year. The only the second month this season where he's had a multi-home run month. And the first time was back in, April? Was it April with 4? He's now hit the most home runs in any month span of the season. He's batting 389 in the month of August, 416 OBP and 750 slugging. And only 12 strikeouts so far in the month in these 72 at-bats there. So we continue to see the improvement there. He's making better catches on defense. Still not making all the plays that I feel like we kind of expect him to make, and maybe still missing some opportunities there in center field, but making big-time diving plays, making elite plays, and reminding us and showing us that Brenton Doyle is a really darn good center fielder. And it's kind of almost like dealing with a lot of stuff off the field mixed with one thing that we'll probably talk about is, I believe, is it an off day for the Rockies? Do the Rockies finally have the off day tomorrow, or do they go right into the series with Houston? Let me double check. So they finally have their first off day in 17 games, which will be huge for the Rockies. But so this is just a situation where we can kind of just look, and I think Brenton Doyle is a prime example of someone who benefited from the shift from managers, and I think this is it's not just Warren Schaefer. I know it's just, though, I think with everything that Brenton Doyle was dealing with, where the state of the team, there had to have been a moment where something switched and clicked. And I think that's part of it, because we're going to dive into a couple of topics on the off day tomorrow that I saw over the weekend. Warren Schaefer talked about his hitting philosophy at Coors Field, and Jake Shapiro of Denver Sports writes about how the Nolan Arenado trade might be the worst trade in Denver sports history. I want to talk about that because a lot of these stuff kind of comes together and I think continues to kind of, help paint the picture for what's next, because my little teaser for you for tomorrow is Warren Schaefer is going to be the manager going forward. The Rockies have made this decision already, and they're going to commit to him. He will get a deal before the end of the year. I'm almost positive. If you get handed the label interim in Colorado as a member of the Colorado Rockies, you have the job. They just put that interim label on there, so it just, they at least can say, "Oh no, we're keeping the door open. We're keeping our eyes open. We're every possibility." But no, the decision is made. The better baseball, the fact that you hear from the broadcast of the team buying in, the connection that Schaefer has from working with these guys in the minors. Warren Schaefer is your manager going forward for the Rockies, for sure. But I'm curious to see and dive deeper into his hitting philosophies and what this means. I'd really love to hear Schaefer, if he is selected to be the manager, if he is going forward, how is he going to change things? What looks different? What does an offseason approach under Schaefer look like versus Bud Black? And how much will that matter going into this season? Whereas last year there was some weirdness at the end of the season. Will they, won't they? What's going to happen here? So anyway, we'll dive into that. Look ahead again to the Houston series, of course, but that is going to do it for us today here on Locked On Rockies. Thank you so much for making us your first listen of the day. Don't forget to go check out our listener survey. And for your second listen of the day, go check out Locked On MLB and Locked On MLB Game Night. And of course, if you need more Colorado sports coverage, Locked On Broncos, Avalanche, Nuggets, Buffs, all free and streaming on your favorite streaming services. All got their own YouTube shows as well. Go check them out there. Folks, until next time, this is Paul Holden saying so long from the Locked On Rockies podcast.